Well, President Trump's approval rating has climbed 5 points in the past month, with more than half of Americans backing his handling of crime after the federal takeover of Washington's police force. This is according to a new poll. CJ, this comes, of course, after Trump's DC takeover has sent violent crime plummeting within days. Even the city's mayor admits that locals are feeling safer.
For carjackings, the difference between this period, this 20-day period of this federal surge and last year represents a 87% reduction in carjackings in Washington, D.C. We know that when carjackings go down, when use of gun goes down, when homicide or robbery go down, neighborhoods feel safer and are safer. So this surge has been important to us for that reason.
But CJ, the Democrats and the mainstream media have been telling us what a bad idea this has been, and apparently not.
You know, what a novel idea that the American people want to be safe in their nation's capital. How radical is that, right? You know, and I got to tell you, as someone who spends a lot of time in Washington, D.C., Muriel, the mayor here, is not a card-carrying MAGA Republican. She is as Democrat as they come. And for her to even acknowledge the fact that President Trump is making D.C. safe again should speak volumes. People want to be safe in their communities. And to all the white liberals who are trying to portray this as some assault on Black people, here's the news that I want to break to them. Black people want to be safe too. And maybe they should go talk to some Black people before they go out and say that Black people don't. Because when I look at these protests, all I see is old white liberals who are saying that apparently this is the worst thing to happen in D.C., but many Black people are saying this is the best thing to happen in D.C. in a long, long time.
Well said. Look, many of us were hoping that DEI is dead, but apparently not. The Democratic National Committee is reaffirming its support for DEI. The DNC's Resolutions Committee backed a resolution affirming the party's commitment to diversity, equity and inclusion at its annual summer meeting. This is Tennessee Committee member Bill Owen.
Republican friends and fellow citizens, I say, who profess to be active Christians, I remind them that DEI is the very foundation of the Christian church.
CJ, can I get your reaction?
I think he should read his Bible a little bit more thoroughly, here. But at the end of the day, the DNC probably will never learn their lesson. DEI got them Kamala Harris, and what did that get them? It got them 85th and 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And so if they are, continue to be ignorant and continue to be stubborn, well, I feel as if that actually bodes well for us in 2028 when we'll probably inaugurate President J.D. Vance. So good for them, but I would say probably a lot better for us.
Let's talk about California Governor Gavin Newsom. Sorry to do this to you, but as we know, he is a disaster. But here he is in June 2018, while campaigning. He says that if the next governor doesn't do something to improve housing affordability and the homeless situation in California, that governor would be a failure. Listen to this.
Affordability is number one. Issue of housing costs everywhere I go. That's the universal issue. Number two, people are just fed up with the homeless crisis in the state. No other state in the country as many people out in the streets and sidewalks as the state of California. I think if the next governor doesn't address the issue of affordability on housing, that governor will have failed. If we don't address the homeless issue in a meaningful way, we'll have failed also on a moral framework because it's a tragedy to see so many people self-medicating in drug or alcohol addictions, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, paranoia out on the streets and sidewalks. So those two issues for me have been most resonant on this campaign trail.
So CJ, according to Gavin Newsom's criteria, he's essentially a failure. He, of course, was elected that November. There's now a bigger homeless crisis in California than at the time of the video. And of course, housing has almost never been less affordable.
No, you're exactly right. So I would definitely implore Gavin Newsom to look himself in the mirror and justify this. But I guarantee that he won't. This is the most, this governor lacks self-awareness like any politician I've ever seen before. But here's the deal. When people talk about, Gavin Newsom being the best Democrats have to offer in 2028, I kind of laugh at it because the moment that the American people are exposed to his actual record, the homeless camps all throughout his state, the destitution all throughout his state, corner to corner, there is no no way in which they will rally behind him. And so, if this is the best the Democrats have to offer, I'm excited for it. And I'm very, very optimistic about our chances in 2028.
Well, earlier this week, Donald Trump slammed Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. Listen to this.
We have a mayor there that can't even get permits to the people that lost their houses. Lee Zeldin got every permit. The hardest permit is the federal permit. Within 20 days, every single permit was there for the people to build their houses. But people are writing us and they're saying they won't give us. The mayor is incompetent. The governor's incompetent. Gavin, I know Gavin very well. He's an incompetent guy with a good line of and he doesn't get the job done. And frankly, those people want to build their houses. It's terrible. They could have been built. Some of them could have been built already. But think of it, the federal government that has the most complex part, and it's the most complex environmental thing to do. We got it. Everybody had it within 30 days. And they're not even close to getting their permits. And now they're talking about taking some of those sites and building low-income housing on them. These are high-end neighborhoods. And I'm all for low-income housing. I built a lot of low-income housing. I know all about 236. I know every program that there is in the government. I used every one of them. I know more about low-income housing than probably almost anybody. And it's great. It's fine. It's wonderful. But you don't build it in Pacific Palisades. You don't build it there, and you don't build it in the other areas that burned down. So they're talking about putting up low-income housing. And you talk about riots. They're going to have riots if that happens because you're taking the people's property away. They want to build their houses, and they're unable to get permits from the mayor and from the governor. And that's a terrible thing.
CJ, I love that he does not hold back, and I think he speaks for a lot of frustrated people in LA.
He speaks for a lot of people and a lot of Californians who are disillusioned by this governor's so-called leadership, if you want to be so gratuitous to call it that, right? And, what's interesting to me is that while Gavin Newsom seems hell-bent on dunking on President Trump on social media, what he should actually be focused on is actually doing the job he was elected to do, serve the people of California, deliver for Californians. But instead, he'd rather imitate President Trump's tweets, imitate his rhetoric. But the funny thing is that what he doesn't seem to realize is that there is nothing better than the original. No one wants the fake. No one wants the fugazi. And that's exactly what Gavin Newsom exposes himself to be every single time he opens his mouth these days.
CJ Pearson, thank you so much for joining us. Great to speak to you again.
Thank you for having me.